you just seem so near. Can you believe your ears? You swear.
Hi guys, this is Steve from Mix to Master Studios in Scotland here. Doing a little demo example video of the Hornet plugins. These are very affordable plugins made in Italy by a guy called Saverio. He's a programmer and the owner of the company, does some great work. His plugins are superb quality. What I've got here is an example song I mixed just recently for a competition, and the rules stated that it had to be done via your stock plugins in the DAW. So I'm in Reaper, and as you can probably see from the screen, it's all Reaper stock RIA plugins. These are really excellent plugins, free with Reaper, and you can't really go wrong. I managed to get a reasonably good mix out of them, and I'll let you hear an example of the verse of this song, and you can hear for yourself how well it's mixed. What I'll do is I'll run through probably 3 plugins today. I'll do the Hornet Multi-Comp Plus, which is a compressor with 4 different models. We'll get into that. The Hornet SW34EQ, which is an analog modelled EQ from an 80s console. Sounds great, great saturation, great EQ. And then we'll run through the Hornet Deelay, which is a dub delay, vintage dub delay. Beautiful delay, and we'll let you hear what they sound like and show you the interfaces. So here's an example of the first verse of this song.
Wait for you to meet me halfway across the sea, but how can I reach you? And I reach into the mic and set you free. I sent you a signal with a line that I've been writing. Oh yeah, I hope you are waiting long enough for me to make it clear. 'Cause there's something.
So as you can hear, pretty solid mix. Basically probably about 6 plugins in the whole session. Actually 6 of the RIA plugins, maybe 1 or 2 of the Stillwell plugins that come free as well, the JS plugins. So you can get a solid mix of stock plugins. There's one example. We'll run through, I'll do the vocals first, and I'll maybe do some acoustic guitars as well. So vocal track, here we go. I will take off the RIA comp and we'll put on the multi-comp. Now I've been fiddling with this, so I have a ratio of 4:1. It's on the FET model. A release time of 60 and an attack time of 20. So what I'm doing is probably reducing 5, round about 5 or 6 dB again. So I've just boosted this output here, and you will hear what this sounds like on the vocal track. So
wait for you to meet me halfway across the sea, but how can I reach you? And I reach into the mic and set you free. I sent you a signal with a line that I've been writing.
So quite a nice compressor. It's a sort of 1176 sort of sound. You can get pretty aggressive with it. I will bypass this compressor and you'll hear the difference. I'll probably have to up the gain on the actual track to do that. So let me try that now. So without compression, and we'll just boost this track about 7 or 8 dB. There we go.
Wait for you to meet me halfway across the sea, but how can I reach you? And I reach into the mic and set you free.
So you can hear it's quite a dynamic vocal. It's kind of dipping in places, not ideal. So I'll put the multi-comp back on.
Wait for you to meet me halfway across the sea, but how can I reach you? And I reach into the mic and set you free. I sent you a signal with a line that I've been writing. Oh yeah, I hope you.
So you can see there, great meter, tells me it's minus, minus 5 for the gain reduction. You've got a visual input and output here. So you see the input signal in white and the output actually in sort of yellow colour there. I'll run through the 3 main, because we won't use the expansion because it's not something you'd use in vocals. But the VCA, which is quite a smooth compressor, we've got the FET, which we're on at the moment, slightly more aggressive, and then we've got an opto compressor as well. So I'll just flick through them while you're listening to the track.
Wait for you to meet me halfway across the sea. But how can I reach you? And I reach into the mic and set you free. I sent you a signal with a line that I've been writing. Oh yeah, I hope you are waiting long enough for me to make it clear. 'Cause it's something that I want.
So you can hear there's quite a smooth VCA compressor. The opto is huge loud. When you switch to opto, you actually lose any of your ratio and control. So you really have to set threshold correctly to work that. It's a good plugin. It's got oversampling. It's got analog mod saturation in there. It's got a hiss button which you can even switch on or off to, you know, model the analog hiss. I think it's a really great compressor. My favourite is the FET on vocals, probably because I like the 1176 sound. It's just that sort of sound I like. We'll move on and we'll have a look at an EQ as well, so I'll take that and I'll keep that on there at the moment. What we'll do is we'll open up the SW34EQ and I'll just reset everything back to default. So everything is set to default. Now this has analog saturation and hiss modeled, which you can switch off and switches off independently, which is great. So I'll take the hiss off, but I'll leave the saturation on, and you have to drive the input like a console to get the saturation. So let's I'll just run through a few tweaks while we're playing the vocal back. So here we go.
Wait for you to meet me halfway across the sea. But how can I reach you? And I reach into the mic and set you free. I sent you a signal with a line that I've been writing. Oh yeah, I hope you are waiting long enough for me to make it clear. 'Cause it's something that I want to sing with pride. Can you hear?
So here we go. We've got a little boost at 15k almost. In fact, I'll make that 15k exactly. And then we have a little boost at about 2.5 and a little cut, which I've put as a narrow bell, which you can choose the bell options here: wide, medium, narrow. About 200 there, just to bring it a little bit at the bottom end. So what I'll do is I'll go through bypass and then EQ on, and you can hear the difference.
Wait for you to meet me halfway across the sea. But how can I reach you? And I reach into the mic and set you free. I sent you a signal with a line that I've been writing. Oh yeah, I hope you are waiting long enough for me to make it clear.
So that just brought the vocal forward slightly, a bit brighter, maybe a little bit too much in the 2.5, 2.6 area, but that's on a broad boost, so it's probably boosting some frequencies either side. There is an EQ in out here, low cut here. We've got the high frequencies, which are around 750 Hz to 15k, which is a wide sweep. They're all wide, and we've got your mids, your high mids are 400 right to 8k. And then we've got your low mids 150 right to 3k, and then your lows 35 to 700. So there's a huge amount of scope here with 4 bands, plus having a low cut as well there. Shelf for the high filter, I think, and I think for the lows it's a shelf as well, and obviously bells with the bell options on the mids. What I'll do is I'll just exaggerate settings on this so you can hear it.
Wait for you to meet me halfway across the sea. But how can I reach you? And I reach into the mic and set you free. I sent you a signal with a line that I've been writing. Oh yeah, I hope you are waiting long enough for me to make it clear. 'Cause it's
musical. I mean, I'm boosted quite a lot of 15 there. And you should think that it would sound probably a bit too harsh, but no, it's a very good EQ. We'll run through that again on an acoustic track as well. So next plugin from Hornet is Deelay, D-E-E-L-A-Y. This is a vintage dub delay. Excellent delay, huge amount of controls. We've got panning, we've got linked feedbacks, left and right channels, linked times as well, modulation, low filters, all sorts of stuff. So I've got this set up 417 milliseconds linked left and right. I've left the input as is. You'll see there's actually an input meter on this, which is great. Panning left and right with the delays, about 9% feedback, 15% wet. So, play that back.
Wait for you to meet me halfway across the sea. But how can I reach you? And I reach into the mic and set you free. I send you a signal with a line it.
So you can hear that there. It's just basically one repeat. Just not to get too messy, but that's a left and right. If you've got headphones on or you're sitting in front of speakers, good speakers, you'll hear that. What I'll do is I'll make the repeats come in just in the center channels of the stereo field, so 0%.
Wait for you to meet me halfway across the sea. But how can I reach you? And I reach into the mic and set you free. I send you a signal with a line that I've been writing for, yeah. I hope you are waiting long enough for me to make it clear.
So there you go. You can hear that. It's subtle. At the moment it's on 15%. I mean, I can whack that way up and you can really hear it. So let's pan this stuff right and left, and we'll give it 25%.
Wait for you to meet me halfway across the sea. But how can I reach you? And I reach into the mic and set you free. I send you a signal with a
See, so great delay. Great delay. So I'll take that off the vocal at the moment. What I'll do is I'll run through. I have the acoustic guitars here actually. Solo that, let you hear that drive. They sound a bit thin, obviously, solo, because that would affect quite a lot of the rest of the track. So what we'll do is I'll run through the EQ again, I'll saturate this and I'll push it really hard, like you would push a desk input channel, and you can hear that with the saturation there is no digital clipping sounds. It's really analog. So I'll do that first, then I'll tweak the EQ. That's it off. Now, I mean, I'm pushing that absolutely to the max. Full input signal, no clipping. Saturation, subtle, but more body to the guitars. So that's an example of some great saturation. Right, so what I'll do is I'll tweak some EQ as I'm playing this. wonderful, great EQ. I mean, that's given us some top end sparkle, a little bit more attack from the sort of 1K mark, taking a little bit of the mid range. There's not a lot in there, but I take a tiny little bit of 230 out or something like that. I mean, and saturated, it just sounds great. Now the hiss and the saturation, you can switch them off independently. Hiss you might not want if you're trying to keep your mixes clean, but it's there as an option, similar to the Waves plugins. So this is a great EQ. I use this on everything. Use it on distorted guitars, acoustic guitars, drums, vocals. I mean, the saturation on a kick drum, on a snare drum. I can let you hear some of that as well. Why not? So let's bring the track in here. We will leave that as is at the moment, and I'll go along to, say, the snare drum. So it's snare top here. Let's add this EQ on. Now what I'm just going to do is saturate this. Here that's adding a little bit of saturation and a bit more body again. It just seems to thicken up the sound slightly, which is what you want really from a sort of analog sound, is a kind of warmer and thicker sound without being woolly or horrible sounding. So I mean that is great, and I mean the low cut is quite aggressive on this. The snare will be low cut anyway, but I'll see if it will make a difference. Not hugely. Let's say we want a little bit more punch in that snare. We could maybe take a little bit of 5K, make it a broad boost. So let's see, 5K. I'll just put a couple of dB in there. See, it's got a bit more punch. More body from the saturation, more punch from just a touch of EQ there. So that in a nutshell is the Hornet plugins, and I will show you the website, which here's the pricing for them. Now this is the crazy bit. The pricing is very competitive. Hornet Multicomp Plus, €44 for that, which is for 4 compressors. I mean, that's great. You have the Hornet Deelay, which we just did on the vocals, and that is actually only €8. So you couldn't get a better bargain than something like that. And also the SW34EQ, which is one of my favourites as well, €18, and you're getting a great plugin for that you can use on pretty much any source material. So check out hornetplugins.com up here. Please have a look at them. Try the demos. There is demos available, and then you can see what you like from there. So thanks very much for watching this video. I hope that actually gives you a bit more info on Hornet, and I'll speak soon. Thanks.